Play once, play twice, third time's a charm. Right foolish, right foolish, right foolish.
Hey, Steve, have you heard? The juice is loose on this week's Friday Foolish.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wait, what does that mean?
Hey, Babs, I'm back.
Oh my, the juice is loose.
Friday Foolish, Friday Foolish, Friday Foolish.
Say that guy for later.
Ooh, you're disgusting.
Oh no, he is back.
I'm out of here.
Oh boy. Stay tuned to this week's Friday Foolish to see how this turns out. Hey, gang, and apologies for Sammy barking and howling in the background. I don't know if it was something about the commercials I just played or what, but he just started howling and barking. But welcome to the first ever Beetlejuice special. Hopefully me and Candice will have more of these to come, or just a combination Beetlejuice / Tim Burton special. We may talk about Tim Burton today as well. I know that Candice is going to have a lot she wants to talk about, as much as she loves Beetlejuice. And I love Beetlejuice as well, but I think Candice beats me out in that department by quite a bit. I think Beetlejuice for her is like the Evil Dead movies for me. So, and you're going to see how excited she is to talk about Beetlejuice and all things Beetlejuice. I did watch my 4K of this again. By the way, if you have the ability to watch 4Ks and you love Beetlejuice as much as me and Candice do, I would say this will be a must buy, or at least a must watch. But let's see. I'm going to get a couple of housekeeping things out of the way, and then I'm going to get Candice on here, and then I'm going to rant and rave over something that I'm sure that Chris is familiar with, because unfortunately he was familiar with it. It has to do with eBay. And he was dealing with that one night when he was on a stream with me. But anyway, I'll get to that in a second. But we've got some upcoming watch-alongs this weekend. This is the final week, and weekend of Argento August. That doesn't mean that I won't talk about Argento from time to time or have watch alongs with his movies. But we are going to be having 2 watch alongs this weekend. Tomorrow night's watch along, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be for Tenebrae. And Sunday's watch along, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be for Phenomena. So hopefully I can get Candice on here to join me for Phenomena on Sunday night. Also, little announcement from me. I just got notified that I have media passes for Scarefest in October. So me and Steve will be making the trek to Lexington, Kentucky. Well, at least on Saturday anyway. We'll be doing a highway to hell for it. I'll be trying to get as much footage, maybe some interviews with some of the guests there at Scarefest. So stay tuned for all of that. And now, without further ado, I'm going to add Candice on here real quick. And also, hey, Candice.
Hey.
Also, I was hoping to have my soup ready and already eaten before I got on here. Well, the Instapot was a little bit slower. It wasn't quite as instant as I thought it was going to be. So I may have to leave it in Candice's capable hands when it's finished and go grab me a bowl of vegetable soup from the Instapot. So the thing I wanted to rant and rave about. Oh, and by the way, me and Candice both have our alternate Friday Foolish shirts on today with the cartoon us. But the thing I was going to rant and rave about is in all my years of selling, and I know Chris has done a whole heck of a lot more selling on eBay than I have, and he's probably run into this more than once, probably more than twice. Is that I got a jerkola who bought something from me and then wanted his money back immediately when he got it because he said it wasn't what I advertised it as. Now, I don't believe him, but what are you going to do? I just sent him a return label, and whenever I get it back, if it's in the same condition it was when I sent it out, I will give him a refund. But yeah, beware of jerkolas on eBay and jerkolas anywhere else on the internet. Chris says, "Hey guys, I hope you like Italian."
That's Beetlejuice coming out in him. I'm sure we'll see a lot of quotes tonight and probably hear one from me too.
Oh yeah. And I'm trying to figure out what Steve, my dear husband's in here. What does that look like to you?
It's a rose with a petal.
Okay. Okay, I see it now. And also, before we get started, I'm going to take a taste of this Beetlejuice Fanta that is spiced apple soda.
I'm curious to see how you like it.
You know what I noticed was cute on the little QR code? It says "scan to summon."
Yeah, I didn't scan mine yet. I still have the bottle. I wanna see what that does.
But here we go. I'm gonna taste this. I like it.
It's different though, isn't it?
It's different. It's not a. It is indeed a spiced apple, but it's not a green apple. It's not like a sour apple.
It reminded me of like baked apples with cinnamon. That's what it tasted like to me.
Yeah, it's a very fall-like taste, though.
It is, yeah.
Which I like. I really like. She liked it. She liked it. Oh, that's a sad rose for my eBay troubles, dear. Okay, well, thank you. But what I'll do is I'll put it back out there when I get it back, as long as the guy didn't have a hissy fit and break it, in which case he ain't getting his money back, He was not a nice person either.
Some of them aren't. No, there's some people that's really difficult to deal with.
He
On eBay.
basically messaged me and said he'd get his money back one way or the other.
Uh-oh. Well,
He
there you
won't
go.
be buying anything from me anymore. I think there's a way you can block certain
Yeah,
sellers,
there he
or
is.
buyers, rather, from getting things from you. So I also see Candice's Beetlejuice figure back there that was, I believe, used in the commercials.
Yeah, right here.
So
Yeah, his batteries are run down. He used to talk.
mhm. But Chris did the voice. He was very good at doing the voice of Beetlejuice for us. I think he sounded pretty dang close to.
Those were fun making the
Yeah.
commercials and stuff. I enjoyed doing that. Even though
We
I'm
had
not
a
no
lot of fun.
actress, I thought it was good.
They both turned out really, really good, I
Yeah.
thought, if I did have something to do with it. So I think that may have been my soup. So I'm going to take myself out of the stream for just a second. If Candice
Okay.
can keep y'all entertained for a little bit, and I'll be right back.
So, guys, while she's away, I guess I can talk about my love for Beetlejuice a little bit if you've not already noticed. Beetlejuice has been my favorite movie for as long as I can remember watching movies. Seriously, literally, I cannot remember a time that I did not love Beetlejuice. I was a little bitty kid, probably even. See, it came out in 88 and I was born in 86. So I was a few years old when it came out. And it was probably around 89 or so when I seen it. Probably was only out, for maybe a year or so. And I loved it so much that my parents had to make copies of tapes for me because back then you could record tapes onto other VHSs and stuff. And so both sets of my grandparents had a copy of it. Plus I had a copy that I would pack around with me. And, I was obsessed with it. And, I remember when the doll come out, this one here, the pull string doll. I forget when that came out, but I think it came out in 90, pretty sure. And I remember sitting in my grandma's living room and she told me, she said, close your eyes. I have a surprise for you. And I probably told this story before. I'm probably repeating things I've already said. But for the special, I'll tell the story. So she tells me to close my eyes, and I did. And when I opened them, she had this Beetlejuice doll, and this isn't my original. My original got destroyed in a fire, unfortunately. But Chris surprised me with that one year. So when I opened my eyes and I seen this doll, and I'm obsessed with Beetlejuice. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. You would think that I would really be like excited to see this doll. But I remember I wasn't excited. I was scared, kind of. I didn't really act scared or anything like that, but I remember being excited but nervous because in my little mind, Beetlejuice was going to come out of that box and he's going to be like the real Beetlejuice. So I remember taking him home and I finally opened him out of the box and was playing around with it and I loved it. But I would stick him back inside the box. I remember telling him, hey, you're locked up in this box. Don't come out in the middle of the night on me and be standing in my closet. Because that's what I thought in my mind, that I was going to wake up if I didn't stick him back in this box. And he was going to be standing, there. And, I knew how he was. He was mischievous, or whatever you want to say. And I didn't want him. So I remember one night I forgot to put him back in his box. And I woke up in the middle of asleep and remembered that he was laying like on a beanbag or something I had in my room. And I jumped up, grabbed him, and put him in the box because I was like, phew, that was a close one. But I've loved Beetlejuice all my life, basically. Literally almost all my life. And it was always just something that I know that it really helped shape my love for spooky things and horror films. And, I got an aunt to really thank for loving horror films, but she hates Beetlejuice and she hates it because I watched it every single day, all day. Like I watched it on repeat. I killed them with it. Everybody just whenever they still hear Beetlejuice, if I talk about Beetlejuice or something like that, like, oh, give it a rest, because I love it so much. But it's a huge part of my life, and I know I'm not the only one. I know there's other people that's probably had the same type of experience, and people love Beetlejuice. So when the new movie was announced, I was kind of apprehensive and very nervous, and I still am a little nervous, but I've warmed up to the fact that, hey, this is a chance to see something new from Beetlejuice. Will it be as good as the first one? I don't think, even if it was technically better than the original Beetlejuice, it will never be as good to me because I'm just so, my love for the first one is so ingrained in my head. I can actually, and this may sound really weird, but I might not be the only one that can do this. I have seen it so many times that I can start the film in my head and end it because I've seen it literally probably 1,000 times or more. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm sorry, but I'm not exaggerating. I've literally seen it. It's an ungodly amount. So I love the film. I love it, and I'm excited. And I'm excited to see what not only Tim Burton, but people like Michael Keaton, especially, is going to do with this new, new era, I guess, because it's different than the 80s. This is a totally different time. So I'm excited to see what they do with it, but I am nervous still. So, but I'm counting down the days for the new movie, and I'm just hoping that it's not disappointing.
Well, sorry I was away so long, but I had
That's
to wait for
okay.
the pressure to release on the Instapot before I could open it up and get the soup out. But I love me some vegetable soup, and as hot as it,
Oh
even
my
as
goodness.
hot as it's been, I can still eat soup.
Well, I had my Beetlejuice pants on, but I had to take them off. It was just too hot.
Too
I was like,
hot.
I can't sit here like this in these
You
pants.
need some Beetlejuice shorts.
Yeah, I do. But no, I could sit until you could be gone forever, Dana, and I probably could talk about Beetlejuice all day long. That's just, But I was just saying how excited but nervous I am about the new movie that's coming up. So
Yeah.
I hope it's good.
I wouldn't say I'm nervous about it, but I'm just wondering what they're gonna do with it. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
the trailer and stuff like that, the teaser trailer and then the full trailer. And I see things that I like in it,
Hmm.
but I'm just wondering about other things.
Yeah. I mean, how they kind of how it's going to all pan out.
Mhm.
Now, I think that they have made an excellent choice, in my opinion, by getting now I'm going to start blanking out on names and stuff like that. What's her name?
You talking about Jenna Ortega?
Ortega. I
Mhm.
think that because I really loved her in Wednesday. I think that she really pulls off that like spooky look. She kind of reminds you of a Lydia, kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
and with the dark hair, and she's just, she plays that character well. So I think that they've made a really wise choice with getting her. Um, they've also made a wise decision to kill off Charles, for reasons we won't go into, but the dad. So and that's evident. I mean, that's not a spoiler. It's in the beginning of the trailer, I guess. You see that
Right.
they're at that funeral and stuff. But I'm curious to see how they're going to handle the Maitlands not being there, and which I understand why they're not in the film, but it's I don't know. They'll find a way around it, I guess.
Tom's in here and he says, I had an action figure. Man, I threw it away. I was scared. I was 6 years old. Well, for a 6-year-old, I would say that Beetlejuice could definitely be
Mhm.
scary.
See, I was just raised with it, so it wasn't scary to me like as in the film. And there's something real funny my grandma would told me, and she would always say this whenever we talk about Beetlejuice. I had watched that film 1,000 times, but it had been probably a few years of me watching it. But I was so young, I didn't really pay anything attention. But I got to that certain age. She said, whenever you realize what he was doing, before he kicks over that tree and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
she said, you just like looked at me and went, oh, Mama, what's he doing? He's, the Hong Kong scene.
Yeah.
She was like, she said, from all those times that you had seen that film, you didn't realize, what he was doing. Then whenever it dawned on you what he was doing and that it was something bad, you was like, Mom. She would always tell me that. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, but yeah,
there are definitely some innuendos in there that kids may have not caught, and some kids may have caught that, just like Candice caught on to one of them there. I don't think I wasn't that young when Beetlejuice came out. It was just something for me that kind of came on the scene, and I remember I think we rented it. I think my family rented it because that was in the big my rental store days.
Yeah,
where you would go and pick out a movie or movies, usually several movies. And I've told this story before. When we first got a VCR in my family, we just felt like this gigantic door had been opened for all of us.
Yeah.
And my dad would literally, he would go by the video store on his way home from work every single day and bring movies home. And especially on Fridays, the upcoming weekend, Dad would get a stack of them and bring them home. And most of them were horror movies, and then some more kid-oriented films for my brother, and because my brother was 6 years younger than I, so. But Beetlejuice, I remember Beetlejuice being a really fun film for the family. Now, Dad might have said his typical, this is silly or, whatever, but I think that he enjoyed it in some ways. My dad has always liked Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So, and I have too. Everything that I've seen Michael Keaton in, even the stuff that's not funny, there is a movie. I'm not trying to bring the chat or the stream down, but there was a movie that he was in several years ago called My Life.
Mm-hmm.
And Candice is probably familiar with this one.
I've never seen that one. No.
Never seen that.
Mm-hmm.
But he plays a man who is essentially got terminal cancer.
Yeah.
And his wife is pregnant. I think his wife is played by Nicole Kidman in the movie, and she's pregnant, and he's envisioning that he's not going to get to see this baby.
Yeah.
So he is videotaping his life. Hence it's called My Life.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton is not only great as a comedic actor, but he's also great as a dramatic actor.
Yeah.
This film left me crying. I ain't even gonna lie to you about that. There were certain scenes where I was, but the movie itself and having Michael Keaton as the lead character was just genius.
Yeah.
They couldn't have picked a better person to play that part.
Michael Keaton has always been my favorite actor, for obvious reasons. I would only assume it's because I've loved Beetlejuice, but I grew up on his films, and one of the huge movies for me in my life, and it was a huge movie because I shared the love with my dad and my brother. We'd always sit and watch, and I always seemed to have a closeness to films that I would share with my grandpa and with my dad and stuff like that. It was Night Shift. We absolutely loved Night Shift. And Gung Ho and Multiplicity and
Multiplicity.
Yeah, and just all those. But Night Shift is probably my second favorite Michael Keaton film.
Mhm.
I think it's hilarious. I just think, I love Henry Winkler,
Yeah.
and the character that he plays is just it's totally so much different than the Fonz. And you got Shelley Long, and my dad always liked Shelley Long in that movie for obvious reasons. But
Right, exactly.
Michael Keaton is hilarious in that film. He is absolutely hilarious. There's a scene where he's always talking like into his little microphone, his little recorder, and feeding mayonnaise to fish and edible paper, and it's hilarious. But out of all of the quotes in that whole film, a simple little quote that a lot of people maybe not even find funny, but it's when it because Henry Winkler is a pushover. He's used to letting people push him over. Is his fiance? She's very insecure and she's always pushing him over and stuff like that. And um, he when he orders from the diner, they always give him the wrong thing. So it shows Chuck and Bill, they go into that's Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler. They go into this diner and they pick up their dinner and they're going out, and Henry Winkler's looking at the sandwich that he ordered, and he wanted wheat bread, but they give him white, and he says, "Oh, they gave me white bread." And Michael Keaton just turns around. He said, "Hey, you give him white bread like that." That simple little scene that I have always I quote it. It's hilarious to me. I don't know why, but that just shows how funny he is to me. I think he is a genius.
Yeah.
It's the simple things that make him funny.
Yeah,
So
like, I was thinking of a scene in Multiplicity, as Candace was talking about the other movie, um, when when he's having the first clone job done, and he's talking about he's like, "Did you see that movie, The Fly, with Jeff Goldblum?" And he's got that thing with he's doing that thing with his hands, and that is
yeah,
just classic
yeah,
Michael Keaton there.
yeah.
It's so great.
And then he's 4, and he goes, "I like pizza. I like it." Just it's I don't know. He's just to me a genius comedic actor. It's like I said, it's the little simple things that are so funny for him. So his role in Beetlejuice, I think, was just absolutely perfect.
Mhm.
I could not imagine anybody else being Beetlejuice. So when he agreed to come back for this, I was relieved because at least he's playing Beetlejuice, and it's not somebody
Mhm.
else. So,
Yeah, and they didn't try to replace him because in my opinion, the Beetlejuice character, there's no replacing.
no.
There's no replacing Michael Keaton, and if they had tried, I really think this sequel would have failed
Yeah,
miserably.
definitely, definitely. But yeah, I just love Michael Keaton. I think that he is, to me, he's my favorite actor. I mean, to me, nobody comes close to him. I think it has a lot to do with me just growing up on his films and growing up loving Beetlejuice,
Mhm.
because Beetlejuice is my favorite film. Michael Keaton's my favorite actor. Tim Burton's my favorite director. Danny Elfman's my favorite composer. So, it kind of goes hand in hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and speaking of Danny Elfman, I am fond of a lot of Danny Elfman's music.
Yes.
I think that in Beetlejuice especially, the sound quality, the music in it is very atmospheric and really adds to the film.
Yes.
I'm also a huge fan of Oingo Boingo, his
Yes.
band.
Yeah.
I have a record in there, Dead Man's Party, that, and as gruesome as that song may sound, I just love that song.
Chris loves Oingo Boingo, and he loves Dead Man's Party. I'm more of the composer type part of him, but I do like Oingo Boingo, and I do like that song. But Chris is like you; he really loves it.
Mm. Hey, Donna Diva, or I'll just call you Donna there because I get things all mixed up if I try to go too far into people's names. She says, "Guys, do you have a favorite movie death? Mine is the Maximum Overdrive Steamroller Smush. LOL. I mean,
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that one. I'm trying to think what my all-time
Hmm.
favorite death would be.
That would be something I would have to sit down and really think about. I know some unique ones that are unique. They're probably not my favorite. Um, like Death by CD. I think I've mentioned that before on
Yeah.
Hell. Is it Hellraiser 3?
Mm.
Um, there's a lot of it's something to think about, really.
I mean, and
Um,
sometimes with me, it's a combination of things. Like, I'm not saying this is like my all-time favorite horror movie, death, but in the film Mother's Day that
mm,
Trauma put out many, many moons ago, the, these girls deserve to get, or these ladies deserve to get the revenge because these guys are degenerates.
yeah.
That they end up killing one of the girl's friends, and they give this one guy what I always referred to as a Drano milkshake.
Oh,
That was not the only thing that they did to him. I mean, they smashed a television on his head. They put a funnel in his mouth and poured the Drano in there. And you just think about, I know they didn't really pour Drano down this guy's throat, but Drano is very caustic. I mean, and you just thinking about that.
hmm,
But I think, some of my favorite horror movie deaths were part of the sleepaway camp film.
yeah,
Because I thought at the time they were inventive. The bee killing, and sometimes it was the after effects of things. But the one big kill that I will never forget in the original excuse me, sleepaway camp is the curling iron violation scene. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That happens to Judy. Uh, if you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp or any of the films in that original trilogy of films, I urge you to do that. There's one death in part 2 where Allie is unceremoniously basically drowned in an outhouse toilet.
ew, gross.
Okay, so just think about that for a little bit, or maybe don't think about that for a little bit. X-Ray says Dana has used lots of Drano after Steve eats one too many burritos. You know what? I don't think well, yeah, we do have some Drano, but Steve doesn't cause that problem. Bad pipes is what causes the problem in our house because our house is so old. It has old pipes. So we get blockages sometimes. And it's not all due to what me and Steve eat, I promise. Uh, but Tom talks about Norman Bates.
Hmm.
Norman Bates, yeah, I mean, Norman Bates was a little more subtle. That was classic horror. Psycho was classic horror, but no less important in there. But yeah, so y'all feel free to ask whatever questions you want as long as you keep it clean.
There's a pretty. It's not a horror movie, but we were just talking about Night Shift. There's a pretty wild death scene at the beginning of it. Do you remember what it is, Dana?
Oh
When the
gosh.
guy, they tie him to the chair, and the
Oh,
boys are
what?
gonna
Yes.
playing
Yeah,
basketball.
I
They throw him
remember
out.
it now that you brought it up. I was
They
like,
throw him out the window, and he's tied to that chair.
well, there's a pretty brutal death in Boys on the Side. If
Mhm.
you've never seen Boys on the Side, that's a fun movie. It has a kind of sad ending. Um, but Drew Barrymore's character in the film has an abusive boyfriend, and when Whoopi Goldberg, who plays her good friend in this, and the girl she's riding across the country essentially with arrive, like he's basically beating the crap out of Drew Barrymore's character, and they like hit him in the head with a bat like Drew Barrymore's character hits him in the head with the bat. They tie him to a chair. They do all that. So when Candice said something about tying somebody to the chair, that's what it made me think of. And later, when they find out he's dead, they see a newspaper article and something about Drew Barrymore says something like, "Do you think I heard him?" And Whoopi Goldberg's like, "You hit him with a bat," and I always just laugh. But anyway, I kind of got off topic there, but
So, what is the memorable things for you, Dana? Like the most memorable thing in Beetlejuice to you?
oh wow,
It can be a scene, it can be just the style, or what sticks out to you about Beetlejuice that makes it a great film?
one of the scenes that I love that's kind of creepy too is the scene where they've got Beetlejuice enlisted. The Maitlands got Beetlejuice enlisted to get Lydia's family out of their house.
Yeah.
So they want to scare them. So the scene where they're eating dinner and they're made to dance and stuff, and then it comes up out of the bowl. Yeah, the shrimp comes up out of the bowl, but they love it.
Yeah.
Lydia's family just absolutely loves it. They think it's the coolest thing ever. But that was always one of my favorite standout scenes in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the big scenes for Beetlejuice. And Harry Belafonte really, because you have Tim Burton's music that he's composed for this film, but they also utilize some Harry Belafonte songs. And I just love Harry Belafonte. I think that fit so perfect with this film. It's got that kitschy type of, tango-y type of vibe to it. So I think that they really, really hit a home run whenever they chose to incorporate these Harry Belafonte songs on there. They do Day-O, the Banana Boat song, which is that for that scene. Man Smart, Woman Smarter. They play that in the background of one scene, and then Shake Sonora at the end. So I guess I just, it's hard. It's one of those films that it's hard to picture anything else, like any other person or any other like type of music in that film. So I'm hoping they kind of stick with that when they come to this Beetlejuice. I think that they will use maybe the Banana Boat song, the Day-O.
Wasn't it in the commercial or the trailer?
That was a really good version. It's like this like choir, children's choir type version. I thought that was really creepy.
Yeah.
But what sticks out to me about Beetlejuice and an unbiased opinion, as an adult looking at it, I just think that the way it was shot is something that really makes it stand out. It utilizes that model, whenever they're kind of coming over the model, and just how, I don't know, it's just shot really well. And I want to see it in 4K. I bet it looks amazing.
It does. It really pops and stuff too.
So, I don't know. I just think that it's just shot really well. And another thing that I really like about, the way it's shot and stuff is in the scenes where stuff gets creepy. The use of light is used, like a green light. Like whenever Lydia is trying to get into the attic door and there's something going on, the Maitlands are going into the other side. This green glow kind of lights up her face from out of underneath the door, and then the use of light inside the waiting room, and just it's all like a creepiness. Even whenever it first shows Beetlejuice, it doesn't show his face; it shows his hands, and he's looking at the newspaper.
Yeah, I love that too.
It's by candlelight.
Yeah,
and the use of light in the film is really utilized, and I love it. And if you've never noticed that, just go back and look at it. Try to just, even like whenever Adam comes back, when after they've went on and they've passed away, and he leaves, and she said, where you been, and then they go there, and she's showing the horse. There's like a glow, there's like by candlelight. It's creepy. It gives to that creepy feel. So that's something I really love about it.
I noticed another new person in here, Kimberly. So welcome, Kimberly.
Hey.
Kimberly says she saw the cartoon series. It's funny but toonish, but she still loves the cartoon series. And she says, and Lydia Dietz is popular. Lydia, the character of Lydia, I know we've talked a lot about Beetlejuice and the Maitlands and stuff like that, but Lydia Dietz is a very popular and integral character to the Beetlejuice film. And I'm sure she's, her along with Jenna Ortega, who plays her daughter in the film, in the new film. I'm hoping that that's everything I'm envisioning it to be, because I feel like Jenna Ortega looks similar
She
to
does.
Winona Ryder. So I think that was an excellent choice.
But I grew up with the cartoon too, and I love the cartoon. My son loves the cartoon series as well, and he used to watch it as a kid. We got it on DVD, and so he grew up watching that. And I got all the toys whenever they came out. I would go, and every time a new one was released, I would get it. So I love the cartoon. And the cartoon series, I think, is actually Chris's favorite out of the movie or the car. I think he actually likes, and it's hard for me to say because I'm thinking, why? But I think he likes the cartoon. He loves Beetlejuice, the movie, but I think he prefers the cartoon over the movie. I don't know why, but
I briefly remember the cartoon. Wasn't it part of the Saturday morning cartoon lineup there for a while, Candice?
It probably was.
Because I think that's when me and my brother would watch it.
Yeah.
But Chris says, LOL, that's Kimberly from Power Rangers.
It is. But I don't know. I absolutely love the cartoon as well, and I love all the stuff that comes out of it. We've got like a big blanket that's got Beetlejuice all over it. The merchandise is crazy what they put out of Beetlejuice. As you can see, some of the little props that we've got, and I could decorate my whole house with Beetlejuice stuff. So we got to find a place to start putting all this stuff that we got.
I love it though, Candice. I mean, it's just so, I was talking about the Danny Elfman's music being atmospheric, but in your house, all of that stuff is atmospheric. And it was a great addition to both the teaser and the commercial that we did.
I said I got to incorporate that stuff because it's just so fun. What are you going to do? Just let it sit around, So, but as in Beetlejuice, the quotes are endless. I mean,
oh my gosh,
just Otho. I love the character of Otho. I think that he's just a character in itself. But I don't know, Dana. I didn't realize this, but I think that they said that Michael Keaton was only in Beetlejuice for less than 10 minutes.
Really?
It doesn't seem like it when you're watching it.
No, he seems like he's in there a lot more.
Yeah. But no, I love the guy that plays Otho, Glenn Shaddix. He played in the episode of Fresh Prince, where he was like a fortune teller, I think, and something weird. It was like a Halloween episode. I don't know if you've ever seen that episode.
I don't think I've seen that particular one, but I think Glenn Shaddix was in Sleepwalkers as well. He was in. I think he was a teacher or something. He's a really nasty kind of guy. So when he gets his comeuppance in the movie, you're kind of like, yeah. But didn't Glenn Shaddix pass away?
Yes, he did. Unfortunately, a few years ago. Yeah. Yeah, goodness. I remember Chris wrote me, he's like, Glenn Shaddock's passed away. I was like, no, I hate that.
Mhm.
Because I really liked him as an actor, and I think he played Otho perfectly.
Mm.
He's coming through that when they first move
Yeah.
dates as they first move into the house, they're first coming in there, and Lydia, she comes in and she looks at that spider on the banisters, and she says, I could live here. But
Yeah.
comes Otho through the window, and Charles is like, use the door. He says, bad luck. He's like,
Yeah, he comes climbing through the window, doesn't he?
it's climbing through that window, and Charles is like, use the door. He's like, it's bad luck. So
And speaking of quotes, of which this movie is full of great quotes.
yeah,
One of my favorite quotes from Lydia is, "I myself am strange and unusual," because they really resonated with me when I was a kid, because I always thought I was strange. I
exactly.
was
Yeah, me
unusual.
too.
And so that character of Lydia, personified by Winona Ryder in there, really spoke to me.
Yeah, yeah, because she is in touch with what others can't see.
Mm,
And that's why Barbara and Adam, they were so perplexed as to why this little girl could see them, which they
yeah.
call Barbara calls her a little girl, but she's a teen.
Mhm.
And they just couldn't understand it. And she said, well, she read in the handbook that you know strange, that most people can't see things that are strange and unusual, but she herself is strange and unusual. So
Yeah.
and she wasn't really frightened by them.
Yeah.
When she seen them, she was more, I guess, surprised in a good way. She was excited to see them because she's like, "Are you Night of the Living Dead under there, all bloody veins and cuts?" And she said, "I'd be scared out of my wits if I saw a ghost when I was a little girl," or something like that. She tells her, and
Mm,
so yeah, I mean, it's she's easy to I guess, bond with for a character.
right.
She's easy to look at and say, "Hey, she's in tune with these things that other people might see as strange." But we like that kind of thing. We like strange things. So, um, she's like the embodiment of like Susie Sue or something like that. She's like Kimberly says there. She's a goth girl. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's
The original goth girl,
mhm.
before there were a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, yeah. So, and she's got this look that is just really unique, and honestly, growing up, that's who I wanted to look like. I would love to look like her. I wanted my hair black and kind of sticks up and stuff like Tim Burton. So, but I love Winona Ryder. I think she played a wonderful part as Lydia, and I think she's still going to do a good job. I love her. I love her. I love her in Stranger Things.
I do too.
So the spooky kind of role really, really works for her. She does great in that kind of role, in that kind of spooky role. So, but Lydia really, I mean, I don't know when Winona Ryder played Lydia, she, I don't know, she was that kind of character that you needed to kind of like even things out, because you had the Maitlands who were, they were these really honestly like goody good people, but they're ghosts now. They're not like, they wasn't in tune with the other side.
Right.
They were just living their best life, running a hardware store and running a house that people think is too much of a house for them, because they don't have children or anything like that. So Jane, as she's trying to sell it from out of underneath them and stuff.
Jane is the, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but she's the equivalent of the slightly annoying friend
Yeah.
that you like. You want to hide sometimes when they
Yes.
come over, so you get
Yes.
that vibe from Jane.
She's the slightly annoying friend who single-handedly decorated that house.
Yeah, exactly.
But Yeah, I don't know. I like that interaction when Jane first comes and she's talking to Barbara and she sticks her foot in her mouth, but this type of person that would stick their foot in their mouth, but kind of not care about it like she does, but then she continues to go on about it and stuff. So in the long run, she probably don't really care. And then she tries to get Adam, and she's knocking on the little window. He's down in the basement or whatever, and so I don't know that
Yeah, he's like, we're not interested,
not interested.
Jane, and he's pulling the shades. And
Yeah.
they have to, and Jane, evidently, we get the impression that Jane has been coming to their house for some time, trying to get them to sell it.
Yeah.
And because there's a scene when Jane first shows up where Adam and Barbara are talking, and he says, it's your turn, and so she has to go down and deal with Jane.
Yeah. So there is that shows you that it's a common thing that they have to deal with. And I couldn't stand that. I just like, leave me alone. This is our house. We're not selling it. But she ends up selling it. Once they pass away, they sell it to the Dietzes. So she got her wish, I guess. But, probably not in the way that she wanted to lose her friends, But it's kind of funny whenever she does look at Lydia and she's like, when she's giving her that skeleton key and she's like, and I single-handedly decorated that house. Like she's wanting, if her parents are interested, I'm thinking, or the viewers thinking, they're not going to want your stuff.
No, because Delia's
not going to want that.
Delia wants the artsy, I guess, kind of like avant-garde type
Yes,
of
like abstract type,
yeah.
Colorful type thing. And Charles is just there to relax. So I love that part whenever Delia and Otho's going up and they're looking at everything and he's got the spray paint out and he says, you read my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So they go up to the office and they open up the door, and that's whenever Barbara and Adam they do their first trick. Well, the first trick is whenever they open up the closet door and they're hanging there and with nooses around the neck or Barbara is, and she pulls off her face. And then Adam's up in the room with the office with Charles, and he's got his head cut off and he's holding it. And whenever Delia and Otho gets up there and Charles is like, he doesn't want them to touch that room. He's like, he don't even want them to touch the house. He's like, it looks fine the way it is. I don't want to. And then Delia shows what kind of person she is. And she says, I must express myself. If you don't let me get out this house and make it my own, I'm going to go insane and will take you with me. He said, well, it's all right. Just leave
this one room.
So I think that just shows like they're on two different wavelengths. Like Delia wants, she don't even want to be there. She wants to be back where they come from, and she's just not liking this hick life in this hick little town, and so but it also shows that this was Adam and Barbara's dream home. They were making it what they wanted. They love this town, obviously. Adam loved the town because he's made a big model of it and stuff. So he loved that town, and they love that home. They love Winter River. So it just shows how different they are. Lydia's okay with living there. Her dad is okay with living there, but the mom is definitely not. She's like for the city. She wants
she's a big city art scene.
Yes. And she says she's not my mother.
Now, X-Ray says he says totally seen Beetlejuice Part 2 in theaters. I'm someone who hates everything coming out. This looks good, he says. Yeah. And he also says, I think Dana and Steve should go as Beetlejuice characters for Halloween. Dana is Delia and Steve is Otho.
I could see that.
Well, the thing is, that would be funny, X-Ray, and maybe we can do that in the future. But as long as Halloween is through the week, Steve ain't going to be doing nothing, especially since he's, switched to a night shift. Steve's actually supposed to be working right now, but he does pop into the streams. Chris says, X-Ray, I think they should both be sandworms. Y'all already got my Halloween costumes planned out here. I'm actually thinking, I went back and forth about what I wanted to be for Halloween this year, and I'm thinking of being Laurie Strode from the original Halloween.
That would be good. That'd be awesome.
I've already got my costume picked out. Trick or Treat Studios has a Laurie Strode costume.
Really? I've not
Yeah.
seen that one.
And it's got the light blue long sleeve shirt
Mhm.
and the pants. And
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
yeah, so I'm thinking of doing that.
I don't know what I'm going to be for Halloween yet. We got to wait and see what Noah's going to do and then go from there. But I wanted to dress up for this, but it's been so busy. I mean, you know
I
how
know, I
it's
wanted
busy
to
week.
as well.
We've
Yeah.
just been so busy that we're lucky we put this together. That's how busy that we both have been. Me and Dana both. Dana stays busy. I've been really busy, so barely have time to do anything anymore. But
Maybe we can, when we do this again or do a Tim Burton special or whatever,
I would love that.
we can dress up at that
Yeah.
time. Maybe things will be a little calmer.
But I'm so excited for the new movie, even if it bombs, which I don't think it will. I'm still so excited just because I love Michael Keaton. I love Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara. I love them all, and I'm really excited to see them and see what they do. And I read where it said it wasn't going to be politically correct, so I'm wondering what that's going to be. Which the original wasn't really. I mean, it had things in it that definitely wasn't. But I'm excited to see what they're going to do, and I would love to do a reaction video of before and after. I would love to do that. You may even as well, Dana. I'm hoping to see it with you if we can, but we still not worked out details about that.
But if something happens and me and Candice aren't able to get together to see it together, and if we do, me and Candice will do a special Highway to Hell where it'll be us going to see the movie. And if we can't, and Candice ends up like going with Chris or whatever, then Steve has graciously offered to take me, but he said, I'll have to watch the original again before we go see that because I ain't seen the original in so long.
I was telling them earlier, I said, when you was away, I said, I've literally seen this movie probably 1,000 times. And that's not a joke. I mean, I'm probably not that many times, but throughout my life, I've seen it quite a lot. And I've seen it so many times, I could actually start it if I wanted to. Start it at the beginning of the film with the credits rolling up. Even before the credits, I know what happens. And, the stuff. And I could end it in my head. That's how many times I've seen it. It's just, it's crazy how somebody could do that. But I'm sure you've seen something so many times that you could probably do the same
Well,
thing.
like the Evil Dead movies, the original Evil Dead movies I've seen so many times, I can't even count how many times I've seen it. I'm the Evil Dead chick, like I always say. I love those films.
I just think, and you know what, and this may be crazy, but I love Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. I know he's this grotesque, poltergeist guy, but I think I think he's smooth.
He is. He's very smooth, and if the audience had hated the Beetlejuice character, I don't think that movie would have worked.
No, and he's a smooth talker, he's like, he's like this. He has a ghoulish sex appeal, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, it does make sense.
He's sleazy, but he has that, and I guess that's why the whorehouse was Dante's Inferno was, it's Juno's idea. Barbara thinks it's Adam, but it wasn't him. It was Juno's, and she was right.
X-Ray says, damn, Candice getting vapors from Beetlejuice now.
Hey, listen, I never said it, but you can make your own make up your own mind about that.
Well, no, I think that Michael Keaton in general has sex appeal.
He does. I love him. And he's so funny, like I said. which adds to that. And he doesn't age. Not
No, I
really.
was noticing that in a new interview. I was like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that he's a little bit older, but it doesn't, like, he wears it well,
Mm-hmm.
and he still looks really good. I love Michael Keaton. I absolutely love Michael Keaton. I love him in Mr. Mom. My dad absolutely loved Mr. Mom, and his favorite part whenever
I
he's
love
having
Mr. Mom. Yeah,
yeah, he's having a conversation with his son about his whoopee, about his blanket.
yeah.
And he goes into this whole spiel about how he's gonna be, like, strung out on bedspreads and stuff like that. My dad loved that scene.
I agree. Yeah.
So now that my dad is gone, whenever I watch that, I don't think I've watched it since he's passed away, but I think about it, and I know that whenever I watch it from now on, I'm gonna think of him because he would quote that scene all the time, talk about it. So, I love it. I love him, and also, this was another favorite of my dad's was, Dream Team with
Dream Team, I love too. That
Christopher Lloyd, Peter Boyle.
yes.
Yeah, I love that scene where Peter Boyle, he goes into that church and
Mhm. I need to go back and rewatch that again because I always loved Dream Team.
that's a good one. That's a really good one. I love all of 'em. Gung Ho's a great one.
I don't think I've
Um,
seen Gung Ho. I need to see it.
Gung Ho is a great one. He works at this automotive place. You really need to watch that one, Dana, if you've not seen it. It's a great comedy. That he's and I remember Jack Frost. I liked that one growing up. It's
Yeah,
sad,
yeah, and
but I like
we're
it.
not talking about the horror movie
No,
Jack
not the
Frost.
horror movie.
But yeah, that one was a good, I guess you would call it family friendly
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
film. And I think as many innuendos as in the original Beetlejuice, I just feel like it's family friendly. It's one that my family sat down and watched together. Of course,
Yeah.
people are probably saying, "Well, Dana, you sat down and watched horror movies with your family, so what are you
Well,
talking about?"
family movies were so different than they are today, though.
Hmm.
See, that people talk about bad stuff being in new movies, but we grew up with kids' movies that cussed, had innuendos, that, Beetlejuice was considered a kid's movie. It was. They made cartoon out of it. Ace Ventura was considered kid movies. And, they made a cartoon out of that. And it had innuendos and it had sex scenes and, it
I
did all
mean,
kinds of stuff.
sitcoms and all that stuff back in the day had innuendos galore in there. I mean, if you watch Three's Company, you
Yeah.
realize
Oh,
how
yeah.
many innuendos was in that show?
What about Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Pee-wee's Playhouse, yeah.
So, I just, it's just the time that we grew up in,
Mm.
and
X-Ray, I agree. 80s family friendly was different than now.
it is. It definitely is. But that's the stuff I like, and but when you have kids, you kind of think, should I let them watch that? And I'm thinking, what's going through my mind? I grew up watching it. My parents
We
never
turned out
questioned it.
okay.
I
I
watched
turned out
Cheech and Chong
relatively
growing up.
okay, but
If I grew up watching Cheech and Chong, I'll be okay.
oh gosh,
Now
I
that's a
mean,
little overboard, and I probably shouldn't be watching, but hey, I watched it.
my dad introduced me to Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, mine too. We'd sit and watch it. I thought it was funny, Up in Smoke, and it's just, it is what it is. Would I let my kid watch it right now? No, probably, probably
I
not.
had kids, probably not.
Not at the age that mine is. So, but hey, I was watching it way before what he is today. So, I was real little watching it, but like I said, different time, I guess.
I just thought it was funny. I mean, back then I was just like, again, I was probably a little bit older than Candice when I was watching it, but still, though, I just thought that was funny. Like, I still think it's funny. I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, but like, Up in Smoke, when they're like, when they're sitting in the car and he's asking what's in that joint, and he says he names all these different
Says yeah.
and then he says it's got Labrador in it.
He says Maui Wowie, man. Or he says it's Labrador.
And he says Labrador. He said, Yeah, I left my stash out on the table and this dog ate it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to repeat the exact line
Yeah.
on here, but and uh and I had to follow him around for a couple of days to get him.
Had a little baggie falling around.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "We're smoking dog shit, man."
We're
It's just-
smoking dog shit, man. But
oh,
that was something else. I don't know. It's to me classic comedy. It's Chris says he'd let Noah watch
yeah,
it.
he said he's almost 12. He's like, "Come on, Candace, it's almost 12. We'll let him watch it."
I mean, like I said, I grew up with watching it, and I was probably 5 or 6 or something like that. So, I don't know. And I
But
turned out okay. So there you
yeah,
go.
I think all of us turned out. I mean, it's like we're criminals now or anything because we watch
know.
that. We're not sitting here on the stream smoking pot or anything like that.
Smoking dog shit.
Smoking Labrador dog shit.
Labrador. So what's
Oh.
Labrador? This is dog shit, man.
And that whole scene just keeps going because he starts to uh freak out and he thinks he's giving Cheech like some downers
Yeah.
and because he gave him acid
It's a
first and
big
he's like,
amount of it.
he said, my head's gonna look like a pumpkin and stuff. He just kept carrying on and he said, calm down, man. And because he had already told him, you just ate the most acid I ever seen anybody eat in my life.
Yeah, they're parked. He said, "How am I driving?" He said, "I think we're parked, man."
Yeah.
And that cop comes up to him and he said, "What's your name? What's your name?" He's talking to Chong and he throws up and
He says
he
his
said,
name is Ralph.
he says his name is Ralph. And
Oh,
this one they go to court and then he goes, Chong is needing something to drink or is it Chong or Cheech? One of them needs something to drink. I think it's Chong.
I think Cheech, maybe, no, Chong needs
Chong
something.
is the one goes up and gets it and he drinks it and he goes, "That's effing vodka, man."
They throw their face out because the judge was drinking vodka.
Yeah. So, I love that. And I could talk about Cheech and Chong all day. And the next movie, I love the next movie as well with Red and Chicken Charlie and Pee Wee's little, stunt that he's got in there.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's some good movies. I mean, it's still to this day, it's some of those movies that you can watch and watch over and over again, and they
they're
just don't get tired.
really innocent when you think about it. Like compared with stuff now,
Yeah,
it's really, really innocent.
it is.
They curse and they smoke dope and they do all this stuff in it, but it's just really innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kimberly, you're right. They've turned just about everything into a cartoon. She mentions RoboCop, Ghostbusters.
I love the real Ghostbusters, and
I did too.
my son loves the real Ghostbusters, and nephew loves it as well. And we have a lot of the stuff, a lot of the toys, and the firehouse, and like the sleeping bags, lunch boxes, all that stuff from it. If you can't tell, we love the Ghostbusters. But they made about anything. They turned it into a cartoon in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah.
So I'm surprised. I know they did a Bill and Ted. I was surprised they didn't turn Wayne's World into a cartoon. I don't know, but I love Bill and Ted.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I love Wayne's World a little bit more. But I love them both. But I think that a Wayne's World cartoon would have worked out too. I think because I love those cartoons like that. The Ace Ventura, The Mask, all those like cheesy,
Did they ever make Austin Powers into a cartoon?
No. I think that was a little past, right at the end of them making that kind of
end
stuff.
of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit after that, they kind of. Chris is right. Wayne's World had a video game that was basically a cartoon. It's not a great video game, but like the Beetlejuice Nintendo game.
Yeah.
It wasn't very great, but I liked it for what it was. You know what
Well,
I mean?
you know, if you think about it, the Friday the 13th game and the Nightmare on Elm Street game weren't very good, but I
No.
like to play them.
Yeah,
What the
just for
heck
the
I know.
nostalgic, kind of thing, And I think Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. They made a cartoon Game Boy, Beetlejuice cartoon Game Boy game. Now I think it was pretty
Oh.
good. But like the just basic Beetlejuice Nintendo game, I don't think it was. I don't think it was very good. But a lot of that stuff back then there, wasn't unless it was Mario or something like that.
Mhm. And so, guys and gals, I didn't say this at the beginning, but me and Candice have been discussing how long we wanted our show to be.
Yeah.
And first it was going to be, 2 hours. And then we settled on an hour and a half because I think we both thought that would be a good, even number of minutes to have this. But that doesn't mean that we won't, we've still got a few minutes left that we can talk about some more Beetlejuice stuff or whatever you guys want to talk about. But I did want to remind everybody about the night marathon. If you've got Shudder and you love Joe Bob, he's having a night marathon tonight starting at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you like it, be sure to check it out. Now, Candace, I don't know if I told you this or not, but Steve told me that Darcy said they weren't going to show any Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Now, I find that kind of suspect because they just got a Nightmare on Elm Street on Shudder. They've already
At
got
the same time, huh?
Yeah. I think they're trying to throw people off.
I think they are too. Let's keep our fingers crossed that that they do. That would be awesome.
Chris says I call bullshit, Darcy. Yeah, I think she's trying to throw us off the track, making us think we won't see a Nightmare on Elm Street movie tonight. But like I said, if you have Shudder and you love Joe Bob, there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of Joe Bob, and I think they're going to have 6 movies tonight. So I've got my Meat and Mud coffee, and
already.
I'm ready. I've got my Joe Bob throw, but I don't know if I should use it or not. I might go to sleep.
It's too hot for that right now.
Well, that too, yeah. Chris says Rhonda Shear will be on there. I was wondering if Adrienne King was going to be on there, who played Alice in Freya's 13th, because I think she was headed to Georgia where they were going to be. And so I don't really know for a fact, but she may pop up on there. I think Steve said they were going to have like a bunch of horror host people, and that's probably why Rhonda Shear is going to be on there.
That'd be cool if they did that.
Yeah, Kimberly, I watched Monster Vision Joe Bob back in the day. I didn't really watch Drive-In Theater when it was out, but I've watched it in retrospect.
Yeah.
Steve used to watch it a lot.
Wasn't that on Showtime, Dana? Or the movie channel? One of
the
them.
movie channel. It may have went to Showtime at one
movie channel, yeah. No, what I grew up watching was Monster Vision. Definitely, I never watched the stuff from the movie channel, but I absolutely loved Monster Vision growing up.
I mean, I didn't even know who Joe Bob was, and I was channel surfing one night. And I know I've told this story before, but for the benefit of people that have not heard my Joe Bob story, I was just channel surfing late one night, and I came across this very tall, kind of good-looking Texan guy with a cowboy hat on. I was like, wait a minute. And I stopped, and he was introducing The Beast Within.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd already seen The Beast Within, but I just was mesmerized by the stories he was telling and talking about this movie. And it was just so funny and informative, too, that I just became a huge fan of Joe Bob from then on out.
Yeah, I loved him. I just it was a highlight of. And do you remember? I know this is not like horror host, but do you remember Dinner and a Movie?
I do, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I did maybe watch a few of those
I
dinner.
watched it all the time too. I know that's totally different than what Joe bought, but they were hosting movies. I
Mhm.
forget their names. Seemed like it was a man and woman. The guy wore glasses.
Yeah.
But Kimberly there mentions Elvira. Elvira was my very first, um, introduction to horror hosts, and I fell in love with her. Literally, I absolutely loved Elvira as a kid, and um, there was a place called Curtis Mathis where you could get Curtis Mathis like VCRs and TVs and stuff, but they also rented out movies there too. And I remember getting the big, huge clamshell um, Elvira, movies, and I take them home and watch them. The very first one I ever rented was Night of the Living Dead, and I loved her so much. And I remember when the comic book come out, I would go because we had a comic book shop in our flea market, and my
Mhm.
grandparents they ran a booth there. So I would go spend the weekends with them at the flea market, helping them run their booth, and I would run down and get the new issue, and they got to know me at that comic book place, and they would actually come down and say, "Hey, we got a new issue in," and there's an issue where it shows her sitting. She's like sitting um, at a vanity, and she's naked, and it shows her butt. And yeah, and I remember the girl coming down telling my grandma, she's like, "Hey, we have a new." I was wanting to say this before Candice come down to look at the Elvira comic. She said, "We have the new issue of Elvira out, but she's nude on it." And my
Mm,
grandma was like, "I, well, Candace is a girl. I mean, I'm sure that it's not that bad."
right.
And she said, "Well, I just didn't want her getting it." And my grandma's like, "It's fine. It's Elvira." So I remember I went and got it, and I showed my grandma. She's like, "Oh, she's beautiful. That's nothing wrong with
Your
that."
grandma must have been one of those open-minded
She
grandmas.
was. Yeah, very open-minded. She supported me. She knew that if it was something bad, I wouldn't get it. And she liked Elvira. So,
Right.
she knew Elvira wasn't bad. So, there you go.
Um, Tom says, "What do you think of the YouTube creature feature or YouTube channel creature features?" I don't know, Tom, that I've ever checked that out, but perhaps
Hmm,
I need to.
yeah. I love anything to do with like old monster movies and, any kind of like thing like that. Universal monsters or just the real cheesy monster films, the 3D monster films. And
Oh my gosh, yeah.
so, I mean, that's where it all started. It's the inspiration for a lot. And then you can see that in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
In Tim Burton's works, you can
Mhm.
see a lot of kitschy type things. He kind of innovated that spooky kitschy type of feel. And I love all that. I love it all. So yeah, Beetlejuice is a one of a kind movie. I mean, to me, as much as I love Batman Returns, Batman,
Mhm.
Edward Scissorhands, to me, his finest film, to me personally, is Beetlejuice. So, but
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I would have to say that for me too, as far as Tim Burton movies. Now, I'm not a connoisseur of Tim Burton's movies or anything. I couldn't do a thesis paper or anything on him, but I mean, Tim Burton is he's a very talented director. There's no doubt about it. But he has a edge to him,
Yeah,
a
and then
unique edge.
he does, and then he discovered, CGI, and that's whenever it started going downhill. But look at Sleepy Hollow, that film is fantastic.
I
My
love
favorite
Sleepy
telling of the Sleepy Hollow, story.
Hollow.
It's just because, he found his creepiness in Johnny Depp with the Edward Scissorhands. And
Mhm.
Johnny Depp plays a great him and Winona Ryder, I think they just go hand in hand when it comes to that, like, creepy feel. He can be anybody, Johnny Depp can. He can be a pirate, he can be, some creepy guy, but
I was laughing at Steve. I was going to tell him hush. He said, "Oh my, her butt," you say. Oh, me and Candace's husbands, we love them, but
Hey, listen, they get us most of the time.
mm.
Most and then the other time they don't. That's okay.
But me and Candace get each other, so
Yeah. No, we kind of balance each other out, I guess, don't we?
yeah. But Candace is since we're down to the last 10 minutes or so of this stream, is there anything else you wanted to bring up about either the new movie, things you're thinking about, or the original Beetlejuice movie?
Well, Dana, I mean, like I said, I could sit here and talk for hours on Beetlejuice, on Michael Keaton, on Tim Burton, on all that stuff. But I want to know, what is your favorite quote? I don't know if you've told me or not, but from Beetlejuice, what would be your favorite? I mean, you don't have to like tell me what it is, but just like scene. What would be your favorite scene from that film?
Well, of course, I like the where the banana boat song's playing. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. But anytime Beetlejuice is on the screen, anytime you're seeing Michael Keaton and the personification of
yeah,
Beetlejuice, I just love every scene that he's in. But one
yeah.
of the big ones is like that whole where he's wanting to marry Lydia, and like he's just like he's dragging her to the altar,
Pulls out that finger.
and they're trying to Barbara and Adam are trying to send him back into the model,
Yeah,
and he keeps like zipping Barbara's mouth up, and
yeah,
she unzips it and says Beetlejuice, and he's doing everything he can, and he's like he's wanting them to hurry up and get the ceremony over with so he can be married to Lydia,
yeah.
and it's because he doesn't want to go back in the model, right, Candace, in that what the
Well,
thing.
he's wanting to be out. He's wanting to be
Yeah, he's
free.
wanting to be out and stay out for good. Um, oh, well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. He says, YouTube did a good job suggesting your channel. I didn't know that how many people that was working for, if the algorithms was getting my channel out there or not, but evidently it must be working somewhat. Hey, Blissful.
Hey. Yeah, I don't know, Dana. I've always loved the scene where Otho is conjuring Barbara and Adam up. That's always been a creepy scene. And I
Yeah.
don't know if a lot of people has this, but I have favorite words. And growing up, I just had this like list of favorite words. I don't know why. It's just something that I love. I've always loved the word Catalina, and I get that from Roger Rabbit because they go to Catalina.
Oh, yeah.
And he says one of my favorite words, and it's from Beetlejuice, is where I first heard it. And it's just one of my favorite words. And whenever he's reading the incantation from um the handbook, he says vermilion, which is like a red color, I guess is what it is. And that word had always like stuck with me as being like one of my favorite words because it seems spooky to me. It's a spooky word. I think Slipknot actually has a song called Vermilion, if I'm not mistaken. But I love that scene where Barbara and Adam are conjured up into their wedding outfits
Yeah.
and stuff. I always thought that was a spooky scene. But my favorite quote, and I'm gonna do it because I can't resist, Dana, and I hope you don't mind.
That's fine.
Because I probably just make a fool out of myself, but Chris is like, oh no, she's quoting that again because I sit and I quote it, and he gets tired of me of quoting it. But it's whenever Adam and Barbara finally meet Beetlejuice, and they're trying to get him to see if he's the one for him. He said, I've been to Saturn, you've been to Saturn, and they shop at the same store, all that good stuff, and. And he asked him, he said, well, what's your qualifications? And he tells him, well, I've attended Juilliard and graduate of the Harvard Business School and travels quite extensively. But then he goes, I've lived through the Black Plague and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen it just about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? Do you think I'm qualified? He said, yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, can you be scary? He's like, oh, can I be scary? And then he, it shows the back. You always know
Yeah.
what the front of it looks like,
Right, exactly.
That's just, I can't resist saying that. So I had
That is a great line though. A great scene.
it is, and it's a long quote, but it all kind of plays into what makes that movie great, I think. But it also makes you wonder, what is his history? And I hope that what we can get out of this Beetlejuice is some kind of backstory on him. I'm really interested. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
that would be, yeah. But what I hope they don't do is they don't give too much
and
and,
it ruins it.
yeah, ruin it.
Mhm.
Because I think we still need a little bit of mystery in there. Don't show all your cards in your hand,
Exactly.
type of thing.
Because the mystery lets you kind of fill in the blanks. And to me, because whenever he comes up, he's got like a guide, like a tour guide, like hat on, and it kind of makes you think, well, I mean, where's he, coming from here? He's got a tour guide outfit, but he's kind of got the buckle shoes and the knickers on. Kind of looks like he's like maybe from the early 1900s or something like that. But
yeah,
I do hope they kind of play into the backstory a little bit.
Little bit, yeah.
And I know the finger that he pulls out that's got the wedding ring on it, I know that comes into play.
Okay.
With this new one. So
Blizzle says vermilion is an orangish red that is poisonous because it contains mercury. She said she Googled LOL.
Well, I guess that kind of plays into the spooky, why it sounds so spooky, I guess. But I don't know. I've always liked that word, and I love that scene where Otho is talking about, bringing them back. I think they did really well with whatever that cantation is that he's saying. It was spooky,
It was spooky, but it's also sad because the looks on their faces, Barbara and Adam's faces, it was creepy, but it was also sad.
I think that because when you first see that, I mean, we've seen the movie so many times, we know what's going to happen. But when you first see that, you're thinking, oh no, they're going to the lost souls room, death for the dead.
Yeah.
They've been exorcised, basically. So, and you've seen where the lost souls room is, and you've seen what they look like, and they start looking like those exorcised ghosts that are inside that, whenever the the thing pulls up, and Barbara and Adam's looking in there, and they're seeing these like really scary ghosts just going up into this green light looking stuff. And that guy that maintenance guy is like, this is lost souls room. It's death for the dead. Is the people who've been exorcised, and that's what they have been done. So thankfully they're not exorcised and embraced by the Dietzes. But I'm excited for this film coming up, and I'm hopeful. And I guess that's all that we can be until we see it, and then we can form our own opinions, I guess.
Right. I wanted to talk about one final scene that's my favorite, and it's at the end of the film. It's when and Candice said it perfectly too, that there's peace between the Maitlands and the Dietzes at the end of the film.
Yes.
Because the scene I'm talking about is where Lydia comes home from school and she tells Barbara and Adam how well she scored on her test. I think it was was it a math test?
Well, she was going to do a science test, and then she got they had to do a math test, and she failed the, I guess, science test. I think they was wanting her like do a frog or whatever.
Oh yeah, because she said but so Adam kind of acts like, she says, so can I? And he's like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
Barbara's like, Adam, don't tease her. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay. So she ends up floating up in the air and doing the
Shake,
dance.
shake, Sonora, shake your
Yeah,
body
exactly. And you see the other ghosts, the football
the
team,
football players.
and they're all, kind of dancing with her. And I
Mhm.
just, and then you see Charles, and he's talking to Delia, and he says, I guess Lydia did good on her test, but
Mhm.
and at that moment that there's peace between everybody
Yeah, you
involved.
do. And you also see, because you all from the very beginning, you see like a kinship between Barbara and Adam with Lydia. And
Hmm.
then whenever it shows that kind of the end, like you're talking about, you see even more like a motherly and fatherly figure, which she has a good dad, and I think she's coming. I think she kind of butts head with her stepmom,
Hmm.
but it kind of gives her that sense of being close, I guess, to somebody. And you kind of feel that with Adam and Barbara. So I'm wondering how they're going to handle them not being there. Um, in this next one. So I'm
Yeah,
curious. I'm really curious to see how all this pans out.
yeah.
I'm excited though.
I am excited, and I told Steve I was excited. I think he may say I'm wrong on that, but I think he's kind of warming to the
Yeah.
idea of this movie now. Um, but we have hit the 1 hour and almost 31 minutes. Well, now an hour and 31. Um, but I think we've covered a lot of ground this evening,
Mhm.
and I definitely want to do another one of these. Uh,
Definitely.
Cover more Tim Burton stuff. I
I
know
would love
Candace
that.
can hold her own with the Tim Burton stuff. There's no doubt about that. Math does suck, Kimberly. I
Yeah.
hate
It
math,
does. I hate math.
especially higher math. Basic math's bad enough, but you
Mhm.
get me in algebra classes,
Yeah.
and oh
It
man,
just goes over my head and I just don't even worry about
my
it.
brain's not wired to understand that kind of stuff. Blissful says, I'm excited, and I've seen makeup and nail polish collaborations. They
Yeah.
look amazing.
I've seen that. I've seen somebody, I forget who, put out like a makeup palette, eyeshadow palette, looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, I love all that stuff. I'm a sucker for that stuff, so I gotta stay away from it because I'd be wanting to buy everything I see.
Well,
I said everything about it.
I've already got eyeshadow palettes for Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. I've had them for a few years now, but I use them around Halloween time usually.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll drag out the Nightmare on Elm Street one and use that before I go to Horror Hound.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm excited to see all the that this Horror Hound, since the Beetlejuice film is gonna be out before that you're gonna probably see a lot of Beetlejuice stuff there. I'm
Yeah.
hoping, at least. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but then again, I'm hoping not because I'd be wanting to buy it all. Like Candace, you can't fall into the
Chris
trap.
will be like,
We
oh
got
my
enough
God.
Beetlejuice stuff at home. Just let it be.
That's
Uh,
what Steve would be telling me. You got enough of that stuff at home. Um,
but I mean, we could always do with a little more.
oh my gosh, Blissful, I want that cup. She says, Kimberly, I have a coffee mug that says math, mental abuse towards humans. That's
That's
perfect.
about right, ain't it? It's something. I don't. Where we homeschool, I have to go through all this math stuff with no one. So I'm glad you know what you're doing because I'm not gonna be any help with this stuff. It's
Mm-mm.
just the stuff that they do. As it gets harder and harder as years go by, and they start teaching this stuff earlier and earlier, which
Yeah.
might be a good thing. I don't know, but I don't like it.
English and science, I love,
Yeah,
but math, I just cringe anytime I think
yeah.
about
I always
math.
loved history. Was always my favorite subject. History.
History was, um, I used to only like U.S. history, but
Yeah,
I had a teacher, Mr. Price, who he was one of the best teachers I ever had, and
yeah.
he taught World Civ,
That's
which
my favorites. World
world
history.
world history,
Mhm.
and he made it fun.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love Egypt. I love learning about Egypt.
Mhm.
And Noah is like that. He loves learning about like Mesopotamia. He's obsessed with Mesopotamia, which is the first, civilization and stuff
Right.
like that. So he loves all that stuff. And it's fun getting to, be involved where we homeschool and stuff. And it's fun being involved in that kind of thing. And I would love to take him to some museums we're trying to figure out where we're going to take him on a field trip this year. Went to the Renaissance Fair last year, which was really, really fun.
Oh yeah.
And Dana, I think you would love it. I think you would love
I know.
Renaissance
I know. I would. Yeah.
Fair. You would love it. Next time we go, you're gonna have to go with us or something.
I'll
But
I'll be up for it if y'all
somebody
want
had
to tag
suggested,
along.
yeah, we'll take you with us. But somebody had suggested like some museums in Louisville there, Dana, for Noah. So might be looking into some stuff there. But
Oh yeah.
uh, we'll figure something out. But
Be
I've
an excuse to see you guys,
yeah, I've
as
had
if
a
we
really
need
fun
one.
time. Yeah, listen, I would love to have any excuse to see Dana. So, but I've had a really good time doing this stream.
I have too. This has
Like
been a
I said,
lot
we
of
could
fun.
probably talk on and on about it, and I would love to do a Tim Burton talk about his other films too, because I mean, Batman
Oh, we can
Returns,
do that. I'm game for it.
Edward Scissorhands. I love Edward Scissorhands. So
We can talk about Sleepy Hollow some more.
yes, yes, I would love that too. But I've had a lot of fun today, and I've been looking forward to it. So
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it all week, as I usually do with being on here with Candice anyway. Um, well, I'm glad, Blissful, because that's coming. It's in my wheelhouse now.
yeah, we're gonna have to make it happen. I just uh, we've had to put a lot of shows and stuff off here recently and stuff, and always hate asking Dana to not have shows and stuff. So I was excited about this one, really excited because and I said I've got to make time for that. I'm not gonna, I don't care what happens, got to make time to do the Beetlejuice one. So
Hmm.
I'm glad we got to do it, and look forward to the other ones that we're gonna do. Look forward to
Yeah,
watching the movie.
yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up, and there's going to be a lot of good stuff for the
Mm,
channel in general. So, I want to thank I want to thank the people that always show up, like Blissful and
mm.
like Chris and my husband Steve and X Ray. He shows up quite a bit and stuff like that. Um, Tom, you become more of a regular person coming in here. And Kimberly, I welcome you
Yeah,
anytime. Um, yes, we have both been very busy, Blissful. We were talking
too
about that
busy,
earlier.
too
Uh,
busy.
but stay tuned because there's more to come, more watch alongs, more programming. Like I was saying earlier, the Everybody Wants England's going to return. Landis Confidential's going to be returning. I probably can get Chris and maybe Candace on a few more of those Landis
Oh
Confidential
yeah. And
shows.
Dana's getting closer and closer to seeing her man, Robert England.
Yeah,
She's getting
Steve will probably be like, "Oh God, I've been
he's
hearing about this for months now. I don't want to
he'll
hear
be
about."
ready to get it over with. Let you go ahead and see him. But Dana's gonna love it though. I know she will. She's gonna love it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm gonna try my best to get him his little gift bag. I'm gonna make up for him. I'm sure that they won't say, "No, you can't give that to Robert
I
England."
said, well, I am anyway. So here you go. Sling it to him. just sling
Catch,
it.
catch Robert England.
Just sling it over
Steve,
the.
Steve was actually making fun of me. He was like, "You're gonna go up to him and say, 'I'm your biggest fan, Robert England.'" I can't do it the way that Steve did
I
it, but
can
he
I
always
can picture
makes
it.
fun of me. Yeah,
Dana's gonna be so shy, I believe. But you can't let yourself get shy whenever you get around your Dana. You think
I'm
you're gonna
gonna
get
try
shy
my
around
best. I'm gonna try my best not to, but I'm telling you, if he says something sweet and nice to me, I'm just gonna melt.
gonna melt like Bruce Campbell. Remember Bruce Campbell? I got to see firsthand Dana meet
Yeah,
Campbell, and he was talking about how he had dated a librarian,
yeah,
and
and
it was
And I kind of melted when I met William Cat because William
Mhm.
Cat called me doll. Now, he might have called a thousand other women doll that weekend, but for that one moment in time, I felt special because
I would like to seen that one. I could picture Dana just melting.
and you could see in the picture I was just enamored of William Cat.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that was something else. So I'm excited to be able to see Dana meet Robert England. I'm looking forward to it.
Steve needs to take some pictures. Well, the thing is about the photo ops, they don't allow you to just come in there and start snapping pictures
Yeah.
because there's a lot of ins and outs. Otherwise, I would have Steve like standing back there like this is Dana meeting Robert.
Get you some glasses, Dana. That's got the little recording device in it.
What is it? The Echo glasses, because they've got those, and it's probably got something on it.
Oh,
But
it's so
oh,
funny.
Lord.
Dinah get up there and start melting down into the floor.
Robert England is still handsome. I don't care what anybody says. That man is good looking.
Yeah, he's a really sweet person.
And
All
that
the times
makes
that I've
it
met him.
that makes it better too, because it doesn't matter how good looking somebody is if they're a jerk to you. It's not going to make up for
And
it.
like I've said before, what made him even more amazing in my eyes is him taking the time for my son.
Yeah.
Out of his time that he didn't have to use to encourage him and to, just say something really sweet and nice to him. And that's a I mean, you don't ask for that kind of thing, and people don't have to do that. He could have walked right on, but he didn't. He's immediately stopped when he seen my son.
His whole entourage had to stop, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, they were all talking about Noah too. So
Yeah, that's
that shows the kind of person he is.
yeah.
So I'm really excited for you to get to meet him.
I'm just giddy, and I asked Steve again, and I said, "Now, you're sure you don't want to be in the picture?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "No." And I asked him today, Candice,
Okay.
and he said, "Nope." He's like, "You girls have at it," He's
Dana's invited me to be in her photo op with her, and I told her, I said, Dana, I said, I don't want to take Steve's spot, and she reassured me that Steve didn't want to be in it. I said, well, then maybe you want to go, by yourself. Maybe you don't want me in it. But
I think it would be more special with me and Candace as good of friends as me and Candace are for us to pose with Robert England. I just think that's the greatest thing ever. I mean, but guys and gals, I have loved this. I love talking with Candace anytime.
yeah,
But I love that we had a lot of participation in the chat, and I see Chris behind you there.
yeah.
I was just, before y'all go, I know y'all, Dana mentioned the Friday 13th and that Elm Street video games earlier. I was wanting to show her those.
He's wanting to show.
I forgot I had those, honestly.
Have you seen these from the video games?
I have seen them. I don't own them, but that is really cool, though.
I don't know if you can see them from the glare.
Down just a little bit.
You can't see them.
Yeah, I can make them out. Those are really cool, though.
I love those.
I just found I forgot I even had.
Oh, did you really? I love the way they look. The games suck.
They got the pictures are on the back, like from the actual game.
Yeah. Brady was looking.
Oh yeah, like Jason looks like he's in a tracksuit or something.
Yeah, he does. It's weird, but
oh man,
I don't know. But yeah, Dana, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you for everybody that stopped by and watched it. Me and Dana have been, really looking forward to doing this.
Yes, we have. And I'm also looking forward to, as I hope many of y'all, Candace, are y'all going to be watching any of the Joe Bob marathon tonight?
Yeah.
Are you going to stay up all night?
Well, it's the weekend, so
there you go.
Probably if I can hold out, and that I've not been staying up. I've been sleeping early.
Me and Candace have both been having trouble being wiped out lately.
Because we just staying so busy, don't even have time to do it. Like do anything anymore, really, outside of working and just oh my gosh. Hopefully next week it'll be a little bit more smoother for both of us. So there you go.
I
But
agree, Kimberly. Joe Bob Briggs is funny.
he is very knowledgeable too.
Yeah, I've
Very,
met him like a total of 3 times, and I love it every time I meet him.
it's probably how many times I've met him, Dana. Twice or 3 times.
Hmm
I can't
Twice
remember.
him and Darcy came to Louisville, and Steve was like, "We went to this How Redneck Saved Hollywood, and we're going to go again." And he said, "That's it, Dana. We don't need to go no more."
Yeah. I'm
Aw, there's
with
Nico.
Honey. Yeah, there's Miko. He rarely makes an appearance, but he's been clingy today. So, say, hey, Dana. Hey, Chat.
Oh, sweet.
That's my baby.
Mm.
I love my other baby too, but he's my little baby.
What are you doing, Zoe? One of my babies is over there. Y'all won't be able to see her because she's a basset hound. I can't really lift her up. Now, Reg, if he was back here, he would raise up and be going. He'd be looking
Yeah,
up.
like Ghost. Like how
Yeah,
Ghost
yeah,
is.
it's a lot like Ghost that way.
Ghost isn't in here with me, but Miko is. I think he's wanting to go and go to Memos. Go to Memos? Watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Go see
Yeah.
Memo? He's ready to go see Memo.
Well, gang, we want to thank you for being here with us for this extra special Friday Foolish, this Beetlejuice Friday Foolish. And as always, I want to thank Candice for being my lovely co-host on here for this show and other shows as well.
Yeah.
I want to thank Chris for making an appearance and bringing in the Funko Pops. And y'all stay tuned for more and more programming, and also stay tuned for Fulci Fall coming up in October. We're gonna be talking a whole lot of Lucio Fulci.
Yep.
So me and Candace are off like dirty shirts.
Yeah, and Dana,
These shirts
Yep.
aren't dirty, but we're off like dirty shirts.
I love my shirt. But before we end this, I want to end it in true Beetlejuice fashion, if that's okay.
Sure.
You say it once, say it twice, third time's a charm, and you say that you want me to say, and I'll swallow anything you want me to swallow. Calm down now. I'll chew dog. I'm done making a fool of myself. Oh, there you go.
No, I thought it was fun. That's a very great ending to this stream. But
Cowboy Beetlejuice.
there you go. And as I always do at the end of these streams, I try to remember to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Because why? Because there's too much negativity out
And
there.
we're still waiting on that shirt, Dana.
I know. I got to do that. I got to do that one. I've got the empowerment and positivity on YouTube design, but I need to do the other one.
Yes, definitely.
And y'all be on the lookout on the Deadites on Deck shop at deaditesondeck.com for some Christmas designs that are going to be making their appearance on the shop.
Really cool for Christmas.
I've been trying these out on Candice and also Blissful, so it gets their seal of approval. So I hope everybody else likes them as well. But anyway, we're out of here for now. Go watch some Joe Bob, or get comfortable and watch whatever you want to watch, whatever your comfort movie is.
And let's hope some Nightmare on Elm Street comes on there. That's what we're looking for.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Nightmare on Elm Street. I need to see some more Robert Englund, even though Robert Englund don't look too handsome on Nightmare on Elm Street, but he's not supposed to. So
no,
yeah. But his eyes, his eyes are unmistakable, even though he's got Freddy makeup on.
His whole look is just unmistakable anywhere you see him. But we'll start talking about that. We better get off of here, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get off here. But thank everybody again for joining us, and we're out of here for now. But we'll see everybody next time. So have a good night, folks.
See ya.
Hey, Phil. I'm sorry. Phil came in at the tail end. You'll have to watch it on the replay, Phil. So
we're getting off early.
We'll see everybody later.
See you guys.